Good. So welcome to another exploration into consciousness with the Earth Novel Hub. And we're happy to record today. Everything is back to normal here. And we're just gonna have a chat as usual and see what comes up. And we're talking a little bit about the heart, so that might feature slightly in our conversation. But let's just get started with how's everyone doing? And who wants to, does anyone have a pressing thing to kick it off for today? The day after, the big day?
Well,
Is any
I'll start and just talk
Oh,
about what I was just
yes.
talking about this space. So this picture behind me is looking out to Ocean Beach in San Francisco, and it was where the first mayor of San Francisco actually had a house. But as I was doing a meditation here yesterday, I was connecting deeply with the past Lemurian and Atlantean timelines that were here, and found this space to be a ceremonial space that connected with the goddess, that connected with, that pure heart of creation, and was also a Stargate place that went to different places, to Cornwall, to St. Michael's Mount. I'll have to track the other ones because it went 7 different places. But just being able to sit here in this space with, the last remnants of what were left of the construction of that, one of the first mayors of San Francisco, Adolf Sutro. There were 2 lion guardians at the space. And so, Martina, you were talking a little bit about the Lyran energy earlier. And I think that, in relation to the heart, I think as all of these higher frequency, multi-dimensional soul shards are coming back to us, it does really feel like we're bringing back those lost pieces of the Lyran civilization to anchor into the heart. And fear doesn't do it. When you're in fear, it takes you out of that. So, all of you who live in the States know how like turbulent and crazy the energy has been over the last, couple months. And it will be, through the end of the year for sure. But being in fear doesn't assist us, right? Change is happening and it's bumpy, and so as this is shaking out, it's so important to stay like anchored and connected into the heart space of compassion, of love, of spirit. So
Yeah,
that's what I had to say about
absolutely.
that.
Like Marissa, she's thrown in, it's being rooted into the heart, right? And we've got that lovely lion that Jen is showing us there, and that makes me think of Lionheart, Richard the Lionheart. And I will have to go into that story a little bit more because there might be some clues in that actually to lead us
Mhm.
into, the opening of that heart. And it's almost like, and again, as always, we talk about the opening of the heart, but, the heart is not necessarily closed as far as I'm concerned. I think the heart is just misunderstood. There is so
Mhm.
much more about the heart that we haven't learned yet, you know? Um, just to use what Aisha said yesterday, she was actually saying that there's a pineal gland in the heart. There's a whole new network, neural network, just like we know it from the gut. It's the same in the heart. So it's like almost like we probably will have to go through every single organ.
Mm.
So looking, okay, opening the liver, opening the lungs, and all of that. But is it really an opening, or is it really an education? And I would say that kind of information is not readily available. So we have to really start digging a bit deeper and delving into our own inner knowingness. What what is actually the function? How is it connected to plasma? How does it have to be looked at, or can it be looked at with that plasma activation, that etheric body activation that we're going through, because I think, with that unified physics that's coming in, where we're bringing the spirituality and the science together, we can actually really take this out of the mystical realm, and start observing rather than imagining what's going on. So it becomes very logical on the one hand again, but in order to be able to bring forth the logical, we need to first use our other side, the right side of the brain, to bring that information forth, depending on the soul coding that we have, or, the passions that we have, whatever joy we are following. So yeah, definitely. So I think there's a lot to be done. I mean, I'm the worst when it comes to the heart, because I've never really looked into it enough. I was always more interested in the gut, because, for me, it was always the gut issues that I've had, so that led me there. But then I'm thinking, the gut contains the fire, right? The digestive system. So how much has the gut and the fire in the gut connected to the heart and actually helped the heart, all the bombardment towards the heart probably been led into the digestive system and digested there. So what's the connection, the heart and the gut? We can start looking into as well, and of course all the other connections. And then how are we going to ground all that? Rooted. How are we rooted? How are we rooting everything into this embodiment? And this is such an oxymoron. I love this because, I love the polarity, and I love the chaos that eventually creates the order and everything. And it's like, looking at all of that, how can we outcreate it? And I think, that little post that I made earlier in our group was very much an invitation to, like, saying that every energy is just energy, tense, bad, good, whatever we want to, define it as. And we are getting to a stage now, especially if we moving into that lion energy, that we're taking all kinds of energies, the most intense ones, and start neutralizing them and using them to our advantage, because we're all alchemists, right? We're all transformers. And that's the invitation, I think, when it comes to the heart. For me, that's interesting. I never thought of this. So when it comes to the heart, I really feel that compassion, that understanding that there is no good or bad and everything is the same, just a different side of the coin, that allows us to really use any energy without fear, like you said, Tanya, letting go of all those fear implants that we have, because fear is not a natural emotion. It's implanted into the collective, through the brain waves and through God knows what they are, and of course also through the limitations that have been put onto our physical bodies. It's time now to let go of all these things and then really use the heart to discern what kind of energies, okay, they're coming in, we need to clear them, we need to transform them, we need to bring them to the 0 point energy, and then use them to intensify ourselves, to increase our potential, to increase our healing and all of that. Because these are intense energies. It's like, remember, anger creates. It can create destruction, but the intensity of anger is super powerful. If you can take that anger, you do your little alchemy thing and you turn it into a pot of gold. And then you start connecting it back into your embodiment and for your manifestation and creation. I think this is something that, for me, that might be that connection, because that allows me to look at heart opening or heart activation from a different perspective. And as a Lyran, there is a force, because the lions can be forceful. There is a lot of intensity behind it. They're just sitting there and singing la 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 and heart opening with flowers and blah blah. It's not enough anymore. What do you
I
think?
think talking about the heart and I think we're coming to a realization of reconnection with, well, with our spirit, but also in our physical body. You know, the heartbeat when you're in your mother's womb, that's the first thing, right? So those cells of the heart then become the brain and become the liver, become, you know, the spleen and the pancreas, and become the gut. Like everything is made from the physical cells of the heart, right? And so maybe that's also part of the human alchemy as we grow into a fully formed, you know, infant. We're all heart.
Yeah, since you're talking about that womb state and that, you know, heartbeat, there is a familiarity to that heartbeat, because we perceive the heartbeat of the sun, of the earth, and all of that. And also, it's not the first time that we have been in the womb, right? So that is a huge familiarity, the heartbeat. And I think that in itself, that itself will help us to let go of any fear so much faster, because it's not the first time that we've been here. And as soon as we can, you know, reconnect to that heartbeat and reconnect to, we can literally start reconnecting and remembering our points of origin. That leads us right back to source. And then once we start reconnecting to the part, then we're not alone. Even if I'd be sitting here on my own talking to myself, I'm not alone. You have all these shards, you have all these, you know, different lifetimes that you've lived that are all happening at the same time now. And the heart is part of bringing all of them together, because the heart is the biggest discernment factor in all of that. Of course.
And a portal, you know, a portal through
course.
which that energy connects into our center.
Yeah.
You know, I see almost like a stargate within the heart. I call it the diamond core God cell, right? That connects you directly to all of those parts of you, right? All of the past life parts and all of your multi-dimensional beingness.
Yeah.
To the heartbeat of Earth. Like, I think the easiest way to know that you're grounded is when you're sitting under a big tree and you can feel that heartbeat, your heartbeat, and feel that heartbeat of Earth within your perineum. You know, if you can't feel that heartbeat, you're not grounded, I say.
That's an interesting one.
Crystals, some of the crystals have heartbeat also. So they help you connect to that heartbeat of Gaia. But that's just our anchor point right here and right now.
Yeah. Since you mentioned grounding, what else is grounding other than, or in addition to feeling that heartbeat? What is that feeling of that heartbeat in the perineum? What is that inviting us to look at from a grounding perspective? So what is actually grounding?
I don't really feel, I mean, we talk a lot about grounding and connecting, and the fact that everything around us is a reflection of us or a reflection of anybody else. And as you just said, you are not alone. I mean, if you would be sitting here and also I would be sitting here, I know I'm not alone, because I know that in each one of you there is part of me, that's for sure. So for me, this grounding has become a different notion. I go back to my metaphor that I used a couple of weeks ago about the forest. You know, I feel it is more the connectedness through the roots, which brings grounding, just so that you can just so that you can have nutrients and live from something, right? So you ground your roots somewhere to get nutrients, but that in a sense, the community that you create is the forest. So in one of the articles I just read in Nature, they just they just defined that the oldest organism living on this earth is a forest. It's one of the Aln, I think it's Aln tree forest somewhere. I just flew over it, but I had booked it to read it later in more detail. So, you know, if that is an organism, it has been defined as an organism because it's a living thing, but in a community of so many different trees that, well, here in this case, they are all the same family. Okay, so it's one big root system. So for me, for me, the grounding is not the grounding anymore in earth. You know, for me, it's this grounding within the community, the expansion of myself within this mycelia and rooting system. You see, it's a bit difficult to find the words because we don't have them in that sense for it. But for me, the grounding is not anymore like this gravity down, heaviness, and I'm not moving anymore. That has changed for me. It's more this flexibility. I mean, it has also to do with the fact that I'm in complete upheaval of everything, and that I needed to find somewhere stability. But I find it in, you know, now connecting here, because that brings also a grounding in a sense, although it's not a grounding at all, because it's just pixels, you know, running through a cable and light in a sense, right? So yeah, for me, this whole grounding, and also when in meditation, I still like, you know, sitting and then getting heavy. But then the grounding is not necessarily the one that I need to connect to everything or even to a beat or what, but more like becoming the surrounding.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll share.
Mhm.
So I look at grounding as being like in my body, right? Not sometimes it's a matter of being very connected with Earth Mother, and I do try to stay very connected with Earth Mother, but I don't have to be tethered, you know, rooted, but I have to be, for me to feel grounded, to be in my body. And there are lots of things that help me do that, but I think sometimes it's helpful to know how it feels when you're not grounded, right? And for me, that if I get caught up into fear, if I start to get any kind of anxiety, if I can't remember 3 seconds later where I put my keys down, you know, those moments where I'm just not myself and I'm not in a comfortable energy, that's usually an indicator for me that I'm not grounded. I think sometimes it's helpful to know what it feels like to not be that way, so that you can identify when you do kind of have to just take a moment to recenter yourself.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Jen. Anyone else? So good. It's always a good idea to look at what is it not. That often shares a slightly different thing. Mary, what is grounding for you? Oh, you're the grounding master. Come on.
Oh gosh.
You and I, we are such lousy grounders. Or are we
Yeah.
not? Or are we not?
Yes. It's interesting thought, actually, this thing of grounding. I suppose when you were saying first, you know, about grounding, I know that what was grounding or what is grounding. I think for me that grounding is being centered within myself, being grounded within the community of myself. But there are things that help with that, though. And one of the things I think that does help us to ground is the planet that we're on. I mean, that's one of the gifts it gives us. It gives us the ground, it gives us the trees, the grass, the surface, it gives us all of that, which helps us. There's something about knowing that our feet are on the ground. And I don't know what that is, but I think it's our connection to the earth, and it's the earth's connection with us. I was in a plane recently, and I was thinking about that whole thing of grounding, because as I was going through the atmosphere in the plane, I was going at great speed. I was in a kind of tin tube, really. And did I feel grounded? I felt relaxed. I felt very in touch with myself, but my body was a little bit out of kilter. And when I got off the plane, I was aware that I was quite bloated, and I was aware that my feet were a little bit swollen, which I don't have at all, swollen feet. I never suffer from anything like that. And that was okay. But I thought this is something that happens when I fly. So the touch with the earth is missing. That feet on the ground piece is missing. And then I thought about it in terms of, when astronauts are preparing for space, there's months, maybe years training, because of the fact that when they go up in the module, they suffer an awful lot from nausea, from lightheadedness. And one of the things that in the preparation of them for space is that they keep putting them into these capsules on the ground, where they're turned upside down and back and over, and they do all the different maneuvers that they're going to have in space to prepare them. And when it's done over and over and over again, they get used to it and they can cope with it. But I find that the preparation, though, for it is very telling in itself, because we're not really, our bodies aren't really just able to just, jump into a capsule and go off into space and be fine with that. And what is it that we're missing? We're missing the ground. We're missing the planet that we're on. We're going at great speed through the atmosphere and the stratosphere and all of that. And that's wonderful. Even if we meditate and we do that while we're meditating, I think that one of the things we need, and even when we used to do them, Martina, with Andrew, we were always brought into the ground first with the golden tube going right through the crown chakra, the body down and into the earth. And then you could go out. Then you could travel out through the atmospheres. So I think that there is something in the whole notion of grounding in relation to the gift that the earth gives us when we're here. It helps us. There's something about pressing the earth, pressing our feet on the ground. And even if you're traveling a lot in a car, what do you want to do? You want to get out, you want to walk a little bit, you want to stretch. So there's something about that. Now I know about that from a very physical level. But there's the other levels as well of the grounding that I was saying at the very beginning. It's that sense of grounding within one's self, which I kind of would be very familiar with in terms of, if I'm in a group and I'm kind of, if there's a lot of people there, it's about just being centered, being at peace within yourself, being calm within yourself because of the other energy. So there's an awful lot that comes in, I think, to affect us, to affect our centeredness and our steadiness on the feet as we're here. The other energies of other people definitely affects us. The other energies, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think it's something that we can learn from, because maybe someday we will be able to hop in a capsule if that was the intention, or if that was what people wanted. Not necessarily. I don't necessarily. I'm quite happy here. But we might be able to do that and hold that space as we travel upwards. But I think that the connection in this journey or in this lifetime is about, is taking the gift that the earth is giving and taking that within ourselves, so that, as Sandrine was saying, that we can be centered and then expand ourselves out from that. There's something about that, I think, that's very relevant to us. And we talked about it too in relation to the male and the female. And it's something about that centeredness that leaves it possible for us to expand. And we can expand with ease once we know where the center is.
So let me ask you a question, all of you.
Yeah.
Would, or you kick it off a minute. Would you say there's a possibility, or could we consider a possibility that we've become too dependent on the gravitational force? And that actually it inspires fear enough, thinking in us, thinking that how can we ever survive in a 0-point energy? Will we be shot off this planet? Will we lose our footing completely? Or, I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on the feet, but what if, we talked about this before, and I'm just playing, yeah, I have no idea.
Mm.
As we are folding the chakra system, or, you know, letting go of the chakra system as it is considered a limitation to a certain extent anyway, folding up the chakras. What if, having talked about the heart, what if the heart becomes the new grounding? Is that a possibility?
I think so. I would say absolutely. And I think that's what we're referring to when we talk about the grounding within. I think that that's the center point is the heart. And I think that when we're grounded within ourselves, that's where the center is.
So does this mean that we all have to lie flat on the ground so that our heart?
No, oh no, no, I wouldn't see it like that, Martina, at all. It's more like a state of being. I don't think we have to lie flat or we have to do anything in particular in terms of posture, but I just think that it's a state of being within ourselves where we kind of know where our center is, and we feel, you know, we don't want to use the word connected, but I don't know what other word to use. Grounded in that place, maybe.
So
Well,
we
connected is right. Connected is right,
yeah.
because all our hearts are connected. I mean, even if we haven't met at all, you know.
So
Yeah.
would that be sort of be an invitation to stop just really focusing on the feet and the earth? And yes, it's all good, because, you know, the heart needs exactly the same, but not so much the emphasis on feet on the ground. I'm not saying that that is what we should be doing, but I'm just playing with that because let me give you yeah, the roots are going through our bodies anyway, but it's just, you know, how we use the words.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden the words just don't, there's just something edgy about it, something is missing.
Yeah, because we have to pay attention that I mean, this is still we are having an experience in a human body. So the body, and that is also what Mary and the astronauts are having problems with, is that our body, the biological form of it, is meant to be here on Earth and not out there in space. So we are trying to make it resilient so that it can, you know, survive in space. Or we are trying to emulate, you know, gravity systems within the space stations currently, so that it can be used in that space, although all of the astronauts are losing muscle mass very quickly when they are coming back. That's why they can never get up when they are out of the capsules, you know, because they're like these slime molds in a sense, right? So I think we need to make this difference between the physical organic body which we are using, and then and here I don't want to use the word mind or spirit, but, you know, the other body that we have, the other that we are, you know, the essence, or also the word essence is also, you know, wrought with stupid definitions. But, you know, our essence is different from, you know, the human body that we are in, right? So
I hear
because just let me finish on the note, because of the gravity. Yesterday I was lying in the IRM machine for a head CT, if you want to call it. And I tried to, and the machine was very loud and made a lot of very funny noises. And I tried to follow the noises because it was electromagnetic and sonar and sound, you know, these magnets all going off. And I kind of like floated. Well, I tried to, you know, so to float with it and to go with the sound in the sense. But my body was completely all at ease, you know. I was really like breathing calmly through it because I knew nothing was happening to me. You know, it was not that I was not in a dangerous, so there was no fear because I didn't need to lose anything. I'm not going to lose anything by going through these motions, right? So that was quite an eerie, and it's funny that Mary was mentioning astronauts because I actually felt like, you know, because I was completely covered, the head was covered with this protective shield, and I had you know, earphones on, and I was all in this capsule there. So it was, yeah, was kind of astronaut.
Did you feel ungrounded?
At all? No,
Mm.
not at all. No,
That's
no.
interesting, isn't it? And I love that, you know, that you've given us this example, because let's face it, we're talking about etherizing, plasmarizing our bodies. I mean, this is what's going to happen in the next 20, 30 years onwards. We will get to that stage. And since we are apparently the forerunners with that kind of information and that kind of thinking and perception, we have to start thinking in non-separation of the various bodies that we have learned about, and just throw them all into one, and just really realize, you know, that we're becoming more etheric. And as we're becoming more etheric, how are we then? And I'm, as I say, I don't really know myself, but I'm just thinking the focus on the feet has to move to the heart. This is me talking heart, all right? So, you know what I mean? And this could be interesting. And there is, of course, in my experience, which that's why it's never really worked for me, only the feet and the barefoot thing, because I'm a huge grounder. I ground other people. I've seen this in every situation I put myself. I've seen this even through the medicine journey. It was even worse. That really put it forward for me. I ground everyone else. And at the same time, I've been told a million times that I'm not grounded. So
I'm the same.
how is
Yeah,
that possible?
I'm exactly the same, Martina.
I
And
know
I've
that.
been, yeah, and
I know.
I've been told that too. But yet I know that I ground everywhere I go, and I know I'm very grounded myself. So isn't that interesting that we're
Yes.
told then we're not grounded? I don't know. I don't know what that makes no sense to me, because I feel extremely grounded, even when I'm doing meditations that are way up and, you know, whatever. I do feel grounded. I do.
But
Yeah.
I'm the same.
is it not that you are like functioning like lodestones? Because I mean, when I'm with Martina, you're grounding me. You are even grounding me, you know.
Yeah.
So-
Well, that's what I do.
and I feel like sometimes your energy is that of a lodestone, you know, like the attractor, the magnet,
It's
you know.
like Paul said to me once, "You are my rock." The worst you can say to your wife, right? You are my rock. Are you
Well,
my
go get the
diamond
chisel and
rock?
make
You're my rock. And I was like
Venus out of
pissed
me.
off for a long time, many years ago. And now I'm like, yeah, shit, yes, that's who I am, apparently. Now I had to look at this, because how Jody was saying, how do we ground other people? To be honest, this is
We
what
have no
we're
idea.
exploring. I mean, Mary and I, we do it, and we don't even know. There is
No.
an element, what I could say is, because we've been here a million times, you know, we know what it's
Yeah.
like to be an embodiment. We love, okay, let me speak for myself. I thrive on chaos, because that's my job, to create order. And I don't know how many times I've just posted the other day a painting which is all chaos, creates order. This is the one thing I read ages ago, and I keep revisiting that, keep remembering that, because that's what I do. So I can create that. But do I do this with putting my feet on the ground? No, it's by being fully embodied. And that is
Yeah.
weird too, because I'm a walk-in. So how can I be fully embodied? But having said that, now, the one thing that's grounding for me is actually not my body, because my body is naturally grounded to the earth. You know, it's the technology. I'm the antenna. I'm connected to the earth and I'm connected to the sun. Now, for me, it's the information that we're bringing through that either grounds. Are we those vessels that have no triggers, that are completely open to let all the information come through, grounded? Or are we still dividing, this is bad, this is scary, this is this, I'm not taking this in, I'm not, you know? So how much, and this is a conversation I had yesterday with Ashi as well, it's like, how much of that information, those information pockets, as she called them, that want to come in, are almost suspended in air, because I'm not letting that information just come through me. Doesn't mean, and this is the big mistake that I think I've done, and this is why I keep them suspended, because I think I need to understand it. I need to consciously know it. But all I need to do as that conduit that we all are, we need to let it come through, let it come through. Because the information is literally available in the ether, in the divine mind. But bringing it through, because of our soul coding, it wants to come through. Now, sometimes we don't let it through because it's not clean or it's too intense. And that was what we were talking early on. We have to acknowledge. Grounding for me is acknowledging the capacity that you transmute and alchemize every energy that is coming through. And the more intense the energy is, depending on who you are, the more you need to let it come through without fear. You need to neutralize this. You need to know to just let it go through. Let it go through. That is this is where I have arrived at the moment, you know, with that grounding. And I think as we go along, as I personally go along, I will look more into that. Like I think Marissa said, of course, the roots start in the heart and all of that. Look a little bit more into what is the heart really, and how does it work with all the different bodies, and how does it work, you know, with the earth energy and stuff.
From my perspective, the heart as a multidimensional portal, you know, Earth's heart is a multidimensional portal, just like our hearts are. And so is the heart of the sun and the heart of all of the planets. So one of my practices is bringing that heart of Earth, you know, connecting with that heart of Earth within my heart and saying, the heart of Earth is my heart, right? And the heart of the sun is my heart. You know, I am that, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then that allows, I think, the information to, you know, connect on such a wider perspective that, you know, we're not just looking at the feed and what's here and present in front of us.
Yeah.
And I think with the information packets, you know, the coding packets, in my experience, you know, I see a lot of different clients, and sometimes I'll bring in an information packet that will stay in my energy field because I'm not the one that needs to integrate it.
Mhm.
You know, I just need to hold it for a little bit until the person who comes next, or, you know, a few days from now, you know, maybe that's meant for them and they're never going to run into this other person. So I'm like
Beautiful.
like a
Beautiful point.
holder of that
Yes.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a holder of that
Yeah.
packet.
Beautiful. Very good point.
Mm.
So what if that is part, let's just say it's a part of grounding, to hold information. And when we say hold, let's not confuse that with hold it until finally somebody comes and gets it. No, it's almost like you transmute it, you clean it, you cleanse it, you bring it through so that it is available to anyone who wants to tap into it.
So anyone who has the soul codes to
Exactly.
upload it.
Thanks for that, Tanya. Yeah.
it's like the password. You need the password so you can get the information. And the password are your soul codes,
Nice
or
one.
your oversoul codes, or avatar codes, or I mean, we're working, like you were saying, Martina, on so many different energetic levels that we are yet to be fully aware.
So what's the how we do it? How we do it? How do we clean and cleanse our vessels to the extent that they become a fully blown conduit?
I mean, for me, again, it's that crystalline river of light coming from the pure heart of source that
Mhm.
flows down, through, I mean, you can say down, but it's really
Through.
through,
Mhm.
right? Because the heart being a portal, you can look at it like the center of a concentric circles, or you can look at it like a column of light. But if you're looking, it's a matter of perspective, I think, right? If you're looking from the heart of creation down, then everything looks like a circle. And I was talking to Melanie we were talking about this yesterday, about some of the Sanskrit paintings, right? Of like circles within circles, and within circles within circles, or squares within squares within squares, and you can have the perspective that it's a column of light coming down through you, and you're connected and plugged into all of these different things. But if you look at it from, sort of like looking down on top of the crown, then it's going to look like concentric circles, maybe. Like all those Sanskrit mandalas,
Mhm.
Buddhist mandalas.
Cool.
At the Vesica Pisces, right?
No, more like not like overlapping circles per se. It's more like circle within a circle within a circle is what I was seeing with that.
Gotcha.
Well, as the Vesica Pisces would be like a circle overlaying a circle. And I guess if you looked at it from like this angle, it would look like that, right? But if you're looking at it from this angle, maybe it's just a circle within a circle, or a square within a square.
Or like when you look from the side view of it, it's a spiral.
Just a quick one, girls. Herminia, is that you?
Uh,
Yes. Okay. Because I'm just worried. It might be something else that keeps.
let me
Pops up.
change my, I don't know
It's all
for some
good.
reason,
It's all good.
no, let me change the name. For some reason it doesn't show up.
No, it's all good. Just needed
Going back,
to clarify your identity.
When you,
going
just
back
when
to
you
your
were
question.
We gotta be suspicious on this time.
Yes, especially when you come in and it's all black and stuff.
As a Zoom user. Yeah, you need to
just-
maybe put your name in your in your Zoom there.
Sandrine, yeah.
that guy actually had a name, but and he
yeah.
even talked to us before. Okay, whatever. No, just when you were, the same thing came into my mind, the light through the heart, in a sense, and then the image of, the movie The Fifth Element, when in, at the last sequence, when they are all in the chamber and they have put all the 4 elements in place, and then the light comes, shots through, and actually it's shotting through her body, because she's the 5th element, and it's going through the heart area, the connection. So this is like, and it is also represented in a lot of iconography, especially also with the heart of Jesus, the heart, the flaming heart, there you go with your digestion. The flaming heart, that is actually, the one that is moving because of the love and the the main message in all this. It's about, opening the heart, the compassion and the heart, which is our main connector, as it is proven also over, miles and miles away. Once our hearts have connected, we can stay connected forever. It doesn't, you can be on the other side of the earth, which Tanya is in a sense, and we can still be connected, and she can still feel when you're consciously connecting with her what is going on.
Yeah. Now, I would suggest I'm certainly going to explore, that sort of connection a bit more, and then bring it in over the next couple of weeks, what comes. And maybe we can all do this a little bit, and don't shy away from going a bit more scientifically, what there are for sections of the heart and what do they do. And then, because everything in the physical, the tangible, relates back anyway to and see what else we can find out. I'm certainly not got to run errands. Okay, Jody, bye. I'm certainly not the heart master yet.
I might have some resources on that as well, because from the freak show, the ICU, we had persons that came for a while, and they organized something that is called the Big Heart Conference. And it's
Okay.
all about this, connecting
Oh,
with
yeah,
the heart.
yeah.
So
Vibration and the
yeah. So I will say
Mm.
they shared quite a few things. I will try to look it up and then
Yeah,
share it.
cool. Let's all get into this, because this is lion heart, and the Lyrans are coming forward, and I suppose we all have a bit of Lyra embodiment in us, and let's see what we can bring forward along those lines. Fantastic. Good.
I just keep
What?
thinking of that song that's kind of popular right now. It's called Lion Heart.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna be fearless like a lion heart.
I haven't heard that one yet.
It's a
I
dance.
don't know
It's like a
that.
dance song. I'll post it. for
She's
y'all.
our
It's a good
singer.
one.
She's our vocalist here. Fantastic.
But another
That's
now,
being fearless, really, truly.
now that it comes up, so since I started this journey, there are a few Crayola wax crayons that fell into my lap somehow. I found them.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, why not, just play around with them? So I used a little booklet, and I started in the middle. Instead of starting at the first page, I started in the middle, right? And I choose 3 colors randomly. So I'm going to call the whole book now the Triads for various reasons. And one of the first images, that is the double page that I painted. And then every night I do one single page. So the other day I just flipped the book open, and it landed on the main on the center page, and I looked at it. At first I was like, it's just, doodling. But then I flipped it this way, and I was like, that's a lion.
Oh, you see?
And then now that you're talking about the lion, it's like, yesterday people were asking me if I had metal in my body, and I was like, not that I know of. And then I was lying in the machine, and I was like, damn, I do have a dental implant, So completely forgot about it, but it's dental surgery, so it doesn't impact on the IRM, right?
Okay.
So, and now that you're talking about the lion, and yesterday that I had the vision of it in front of me, and I'm like, it's a lion, Only now it's coming back. It's like, you saw that picture yesterday of a lion.
Mm.
I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna make a picture and I'm gonna post it.
Yeah. So I think the symbolism, we can just, go completely beyond all of what we've ever known. Just look at the symbolism of the lion, and the lioness and the power. And, I have to learn a bit more about it, because, the Lyran, or even the Lyran civilization. I haven't really looked much into this whole thing, because I was always looking at, the other species I was more associated, other origins I was more associated with. So it's definitely, Lyra is definitely coming through. So something we can all sort of explore a little bit, and Google information, and even just look at the metaphysical sort of meaning of the lion, right? and what it is associated with. And then, of course, you know, what resonates with us and how can we spin this and weave this further and make this into a new.
I'm a citizen of a country that has a red lion as its crest, you know, and we are also called the Red Lions. So
Well, here
there you go.
I mean, UK is
Mhm.
full of bloody lions, you know, pubs, and you know, it's on every, it's on many crests. Well, for a reason, right? So I need to also read up a little. That's why I wanted to watch Britannia, but I can't find it. So I need to go and read up, or yeah, I found a YouTube about Richard the Lionheart, you know, so I'm gonna watch that one and just really, you know, I mean, this is what we do, like magpies, or at least me, you know, just like, okay, pick, and then we can rewrite a story, you know, and put a different meaning and change certain players, and you know, or even, you know, acknowledge ourselves as the players from then, you know, because Richard Lionheart goes back into, you know, the Crusaders and everything, and Jesus Christ, yes, my favorite subject. Not that I know any facts, but I light up when we talk about the Knights Templars and the Crusaders, you know, because I've been a part of that. So this part is coming in for me too now, with more conscious awareness, I hope, at some stage. Now, my question early on was, and this is what I'm going to explore now, is if I say information coming in, and I say this, and I could come from anywhere, obviously, what is still holding that back? And yes, we've done a lot of work with our wounding from this lifetime. And many people will probably say, oh, I'm awake. I've never said that, but you know, I'm sort of, I love to say more like, okay, so the major, you know, karmic resolution is probably, you know, resolved, the major karmic sort of entanglements. But of course, there's no such thing, because, you know, now we're going deeper. We're going deeper the layers. And we can no longer just look at mum and dad and blame them, or learn through them, or our mates or neighbors, because with that separation of density, they're all falling away anyway. So it's no matter of, okay, it's got to be our origins, it's got to be our lifetimes, and not in order to, you know, get out of this reality, this timeline, and go into a sort of metaphysical, spiritual world without creating here, but acknowledging that this is the next level of connection and, you know,
Integration.
integration. And if we really want to be able to discern and become beings of choice, true choice, not just tacit consent or not tacit consent, or, you know, ignorant consent, you know, we have to educate ourselves. We have to educate ourselves. We won't find that in books. Not necessarily. Yes, through symbols, but you can't just read and say, okay, this is a fact, this is the way it is. No, we have to now really pick and choose bits and pieces and all become those magpies, and then bring it together.
Exactly. And we should really not be afraid to actually just put it down also, as somebody who is capable of putting it down, and then also referencing themselves in a sense, you know, because that is where the experience is from. I have read a few books now where usually I also read the reviews, and I usually always read the bad reviews first to know if I'm gonna like the book or not. But in some of those reviews, many are just like, oh yeah, so it's a really bad book, but because he's only referencing himself. Well, yeah, because he was probably the only one who was writing about it at that moment in time. And so who should he reference? Because didn't nobody exist and nobody talked about it. So when we're coming up with art or fashion or designers or what have you not, you know, the one that is the most innovative, the one that has never referenced anyone, is always the one that is being praised. But once you start writing a book, you know, putting things into word and writing them down for the public to know, then apparently if you're not referencing anybody else, you're bad. And I'm like, could somebody please explain this to me? I don't get it.
And I like that, Sandrine, that
Yeah.
you're making that reference actually, because, you know, look, we always give credit when credit is due, when we, you know, there is a source, just like I mentioned Aisha for certain, just like we mentioned Avi, we mentioned, you know, whoever we have ever worked with. But we're getting to that stage now where we are remembering, right? And it's a bit like when you have an invention, right? You're inventing something, and at the other side of the world, there's somebody inventing the same thing, because so who invented it first, and who's getting the paperwork for this? We have to stop thinking along those lines. It's no longer about competition. It's no longer about separation. It's all coming together, right? We're
And the
talking
most
about
important thing is our direct connection, right? Because that's where the information that's pertinent to our purpose comes through our direct connection, right?
exactly.
Which is heart of creation, connected to our heart, connected to earth, connected to the sun. I mean, it's all connected in that way that the information can, when you have those energetic channels open, right, the information can come through.
Yes, and let's just take plasma for instance, right? Because this is a big topic now. So lots of people start talking about, well, who came up first? Nobody cares who came up first, right? And even if you repeat something that you've heard, let's not forget, you're using your own words. You don't use it verbatim, right? You use your own voice. So that in itself filters it already through when you are talking about it. That's already creating a completely different energy around it as you are expressing it through your own vehicle, right? If you just take the recording of this person or the book and just show it, then that's a different story, right? And don't add your energy to it. But as soon as you add your energy to it, you're already changing it. But you're changing it because it's coming through your unique expression. And by you changing it, some people will all of a sudden understand it, whilst others will not. Because this is what we do. We translate each other's information through our signature frequency, vibration, and harmony.
Which is a perfect allegory also for the fact that we are not holding the information. You know, a translator, when you do direct translation, you just translate, you know, you get the information in, you process it, you put it out in a different word so that that person that you're translating to can understand it, and then it's gone. You keep bits and pieces of it, you know, like technical terms, for instance, or if it's really something that you're absolutely interested in, you will remember it, you will store it, but the rest will just go. Or it will actually not go, because some of the latest science researches is that we are actually remembering everything that we ever see and hear and read, but it's stored someplace. I mean, these atoms, you know, it's 99% of empty space, so it must go somewhere. And I'm just saying, so but there is information that will always remain in your, you know, in the memory, in the working memory, and then there is some that is just being, and you just put it away, and maybe one day you might use it or not, but you don't have to carry it around.
No, and certainly not feel any entitlement for
Oh yeah, right.
It does not belong to you, because you didn't create it, you didn't make it up, you just remembered it, you downloaded it from the divine mind where everything, infinite possibilities are available, or from the black hole, or from the plasma plane, or from the etheric sort of level or something. And that's the thing. So anyone who has issues with, oh, why don't you write? They are obviously on a frequency level that question I would ask is why even talk to people like that without judgment, you know, because they're on a different frequency.
Yeah, an interesting example.
Having to reinforce what's it called? Property
Rights,
rights,
copyrights.
copyrights and shit like that. Tanya.
I was watching a documentary called Gatsby in Connecticut. And it's about the book The Great Gatsby, written by Fitzgerald.
Oh,
And there was a scholar who was a professor at University of South Carolina or something that had written the ultimate book on Fitzgerald, right? And so all of the other scholars were basing their research on this one scholar. And when this person passed away, now all of a sudden there's new energetic movement around researching Fitzgerald. It's almost like that person had to get out of the way in order for the new information to come through, right? And so they're trying to figure out like where was Fitzgerald really inspired to write The Great Gatsby? That's pretty cool.
well,
Yeah.
it does it not happen in every academia in a sense? Einstein, we haven't gotten rid of him yet.
Not yet.
I mean,
I've seen his
I have
work.
nothing against Einstein, but I'm
man.
just no, and Martina is even looking at him, but
That's right. I put him over there now. He's out of my way.
no, I'm just saying, sometimes you just have to move these huge blocks away. But I mean, if Einstein probably at that moment in time where he was just becoming the famous in a sense, or came out with interesting stuff, other people were being put aside, which now need to come back in a sense for things to open up again, because we are in a different mindsets. And look at archaeology. I mean, come on. I mean, Graham Hancock now coming up with his second Ancient Civilization. I'm not on Netflix anymore. I'm not going to watch it. But just saying, and he's not even an archaeologist. He's just a reporter. He's a journalist. He's just an investigator. And he's like, why we keep on, listening to people that are everything that every little piece that they find is like, oh, that's ritual. What does it actually mean? It's all nonsense.
There's a
Yeah,
line in the movie The Mummy where Rachel Weisz, who's playing like the explorer, the Egyptian explorer, she says, "Take that, Bainbridge scholars."
Take that,
because
Bainbridge scholars. Yeah, that's right.
she's using her own research and information to move past that energy. And of course, that's a fictional example, but that's
Perfect one.
it, right? It's like when it reminds me of the way that Timothy Leary talked about words, right? I don't know if it was Terence McKenna or Timothy Leary, one of those guys, one of those psychedelic guys, talks about when you're a baby, right? You don't know the language, right? And so your parents are teaching you the language. And oh, look outside the window and look, a bird, right? But the baby might not see it as a bird, which sort of tiles over the essence and the meaning of that thing that it is, right? So the baby might see, oh, look at this explosion of light and color and the dance of the air and the swimming through the air. There's all of these other associations you can throw up around that little being, right? And then when the parent says, oh, bird, right, it sort of like shrinks the perspective and tiles it over. And so that's your understanding of what that being is, or a thing, whatever thing it is. It doesn't matter what thing it is.
And then it's like bad bird, bad dog, bad this, bad that, good this, good that. But you know what? I think it's actually a very valid point you guys are making here, because I think there will be quite a look, and give gratitude to all these people who have done the research before we got to that stage. And also let's remember there are not that many people who actually have passed that level of exploration. So that goes without saying. But there will be, I've got to leave, Mary. Okay, darling. See you soon. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, sorry, I have to go. Take care. Love the chat.
No worries.
Bye-bye.
Watch the
Bye.
rest, huh? Okay.
I will. I will.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
The rude awakening will happen for those when we have other species. or interdimensional aspects of ourselves coming to this planet. And as Bashar, give credit to Bashar, says, we will be given our holographic history over thousands of years backwards, because they will probably, most probably, be very different to what we have been reading in our history books. So all of this shit is going to go out the window anyway very soon. So I think we have to just prepare ourselves to, or we probably have, or we have to prepare ourselves to help those that are not prepared. You think, oh my God, especially those scholars and academics, who have been so attached to their fucking doctor this and professor that. And again, we're not taking it away, hard work, determination, resilience. But now is the time to use your determination, resilience, and all of that to outcreate the old. And of course, there will be options. New world, old world. So, it's just a choice at the end of the day. But for those who are interested in moving on into the era of Aquarius, then, let go of the baggage. Let go of the baggage, because once we let go of the baggage, I'm finally getting to my fucking point. I'm turning into a Trump, weaving for an hour before I get to my bloody point. Letting go of the baggage,
At least you have
of the
one.
system, letting go of all of that, so that the information can, or maybe I have said it already, can come through.
Yeah, you did.
Implant.
Well, it's like that old phrase, you got to know the rules in order to break them, right?
Yes.
What
Huh.
is the
Gotta have
structure
the
that has
rebel.
tiled us in and boxed us in? And now we're going to kick that down, right?
And using that
you-
rebel energy to your advantage. Enjoy being a rebel, a trickster, but don't use it against you, which I used to do for
Right.
a long time
Yeah.
in my life. Just crossing the road, knowing exactly that cars don't stop, but hey, there's a crossing, so fuck you. That kind of thing. That's a possibility which I would not recommend.
No, I just switched off Star Trek Deep Space Nine on the telly, and there was Odo and Nog having one of their get-goes, where the one is a smuggler and the other one is the security chief, and the security chief tells the smuggler that, oh, and since I'm here on the station, you have become much better in your trade. Yeah, because I need to. And the smuggler replies, yes, because I need to pay more attention and play by the rules. But he's still smuggling, so that is exactly what we need to do. We are playing by the rules of that community or that circle or that environment we are in, so that we're also not harming, not us, and also not the environments, but still playing, against the rules in a good way to actually move things forward and give it a different perspective.
Yeah, I think, Tony, you just said, like, you got to know the rules so that you know which ones to
To
Why not to
bend,
break?
which ones to break.
Yeah.
exactly.
Which one to take that giant sword and
Which
Or
leads
kick
me
it
to
down.
another energy that's coming up. Loyalty. Loyalty is an interesting energy.
well, and also connects to the energy of the lion.
Of the lion, yeah, right.
How?
So lions, they form the pride, they form the pack, and that is their family, right? Those are the beings that they're loyal to, and they hunt together and play together and raise the cubs together.
Mm.
That's it's also I don't know, as like, oh, you're talking about all the crests that have the lion in them. Loyalty is one of the words that comes up very often with those crests. Strength
Yeah.
and loyalty.
Loyalty, there's another word, patriarchy. We are patriarchs. That's also connected, right? Is it patriarchs? So especially in the States, patriarchy, not the male thing. Or is that the word I'm looking for? Patriarchs? No, patriots.
Patriot.
Patriots. Yeah. That's also connected to loyalty, isn't it?
It can be.
Yeah. I think it's the word, but anyway. that's something to start looking into. Where are we still loyal to something that's actually holding us back to where we want to be, to who or what we want to become? Because I think loyalty is, I say, look, I'm not, I don't do loyalty, which is always, a trigger. Somebody says, I don't do something, then yeah, you do it.
Yeah, you do it.
But it's a blind spot somewhere, And I think what I would consider loyalty, what I have realized, which is a familiar energy, and I don't know if that is loyalty, but I think it's connected to it. Because if the lion.
A Luxembourgish crest.
Yeah. Is there loyalty? Would you consider that loyal? Because that was a blind spot that I've been looking at, with a very familiar energy, where I was saying that I give people the benefit of the doubt. It's like, oh, surely, it's not a hope, but surely you will figure this out yourself. So I'm
Martina.
not going to step in. Sure, because surely is this just ignorance on my side, or is this a kind of loyalty, thinking that people will figure it out? What would you-
Martina,
Yes.
I was wondering now that you're talking about it, because my Chinese symbol is a tiger.
Yes.
And sometimes when I feel like exhausted or something, I concentrate in that energy and I feel like, energized for some reason, get me help to recover.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I seen people sometimes in the face, and I for some reason I recognize that they have, how you can call that, the figures or the face, the features in the face, it resembling me like a lion.
Yes.
or the tigers. There's
Yeah.
a guy here in United States that he's very popular. He had a lot of books. Every time I saw his face, even the head and his hair, everything, the hairstyle that he used is like a completely like a finish, from the lion, what do you call the lion?
Like
It's really hard for me to explain it, but it's like I see his face and I see like somebody from outer space using this physical body, but he cannot leave behind the face of the
the residual
finish.
image. Amelia, look at our friend Tanya. She looks exactly like that bloody lion. Look at it.
Oh,
And that's not
yes.
even a normal lion, because it's got straight hair, just like this, especially
Yeah.
for her to illustrate your point. Look
Oh
at
my
it.
God, it's amazing.
I
Yes.
know.
Then I'm glad I'm not crazy.
No, you're not going. No, you're seeing the residual in it. So this is actually interesting for you to acknowledge, yeah, because you're
Wow.
starting to see origins of
Mhm.
people, yeah.
Wow. I saw a lady that she's from one of South America, all this country, and her face, when I saw her face, it was like a little mouse, and her face, her mouth, the ears, the nose. It was, oh my God! I saw, one of those movies from Disney World about the mouse, and her face was like, wow, it's a mouse society from another galaxy here in a physical body. I was thinking myself,
From the mouse galaxy.
yeah, it was like, what? And it's ironic because every time I pay attention to people, I can see that features in the face, and it's like, wow, what we are doing here? What really are we here? A combination of so many things, and using this physical body, and then we forget about it. I don't know.
Look out for that, because that could become a gift to use if you want to work with people to actually help them figure out what their origins are. But I have to say, Tanya, this is superb illustration, because usually you'd say lion like my hair, right?
Yeah.
No, we even got straight hair down just to match hers.
Yeah, yeah, it's completely like a mass image of her face in this
Beautiful.
lion face,
Beautiful.
and it's amazing. Then I will pay more attention because I can really see
Yeah.
it, the
Yeah.
transparency in people's faces.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, it just shows too how many, you know, interdimensional galactic beings are here incarnated in human body.
Mm,
You know, seeing like the Antarians, the Mantis people, you know, who are
Absolutely.
big,
Yeah.
big-hearted healers
Yeah.
from the Antares star system.
yeah. Yeah.
Pleiadians and the Sirians, you know, all look
Mm.
different. You can see them when you look at them. Well, I
Yeah.
can. I don't know.
Yeah. Amazing.
Wow.
I mean,
Fantastic.
I remember a couple of years ago, I went through a stretch where I think I did a lot of networking. I had lots of people around me on a sort of regular basis. And what I started seeing, I didn't see their origins, but I saw other people that I knew in their faces.
Oh.
So I remember being in Amsterdam, talking to that person, and all of a sudden, I was in courses, you know, and all of a sudden I saw my sister.
Mm.
Whoa, really start reminding me of my sister, you know, so much so that I actually phoned her, and she wasn't in a good space. So it was almost like these people were sending me messages through
Yes.
morphing themselves.
Yeah. The image. The image. Yeah.
The image, the residual image of other people for me to take action. So,
Mm-hmm. Like a messengers.
yeah.
The other
Wow.
day, I fell upon a picture of Louis XIV, you know, the Sun King, and it actually looks, you look very familiar to him. I was like, this is Martina.
Mm.
Have you had
He's a good-
anything to
good
do
guy.
at the court of Louis XIV?
Yeah, why not? Was he a bastard or?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, well, you know, we did it all.
No, I have to.
Accept.
I mean, he was the one who built Versailles.
Yeah, he did.
Well, here you go. Stop moaning.
I'm not moaning at all.
Sigh
I'm like-
without me. No, I know. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, creative. Yeah.
There's a really cool movie called A Little Chaos with Kate Winslet and
A little chaos.
A Little Chaos with Kate Winslet and Alan Rickman plays Louis XIV as an older man. And it's
Mhm.
about creating the gardens, like a certain area in the garden, which is like the ballroom. It's really a cool movie. I loved it.
Well, I think I might have seen that actually. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I love suggestions for movies and all of that to kill some of my energies that are not being used and grounded and manifested because there's so much at the moment.
There's so much at the moment, you know, and it's interesting, Martina, what we were talking about letting energies flow through, right? You and I have the ability to like allow energies to sort of like hold in the energy field if they need to go somewhere else, but also to integrate it and like have it like air or water, you know, flowing through. But this is, I think, an advanced skill that a lot of people don't have an awareness of. You know, it's like in the work that I do, one of the things that I see so often is energy, very cluttered energy fields, right? Where I think maybe because the chakra or the central channel is not open, that things just sort of like glue into the aura, you know, get entangled, other people's energy gets entangled, and they don't know how to move it, right? And so these, what we're talking about, you know, here, moving that energy through the energy field and allowing what needs to integrate and getting rid of the rest, right? That's a continual flow and practice, right?
Yeah.
That
Keep the movement going.
yeah, exactly. And it's a continual mindful awareness, I think, about like being cognizant of what's sticking, that's not ours, and what is flowing. Like, what can we integrate? What can we learn? And then I'm just going to let the rest go down to, to Mother Earth, or, be transmuted.
To be honest, Tanya, I think, and this is what I'm seeing, and I haven't really acknowledged, because the more chaotic it gets, and I know Mary, she's gone now, but she has the same, unacknowledged. The more chaotic it gets, the more energy I have. Yeah, because I am actually not just holding it, I am transmuting it. I'm taking it, but not using it for, entanglement and then get drained myself. I am transforming it and using it as a source of energy. So add that to it, because I was thinking, the more chaotic, I always say I'm so good jumping into the cold water. It's almost like when there's nothing going on, I deflate. I get so bored when nothing is going on, because there's no chaos for me to transmute. Because that energy, and I'm not sucking it, I'm using it, I'm transforming it for whoever is involved to have it available as intensity, as power, as potential. And I think this is probably also how I ground people, and you too. Could be that too. Because, and this is the thing, Tanya, I'm coming to this realization after my conversation with Aisha as well. Every energy needs to be used. There's no good, no bad. And we are creators, right? So why would we just let it go? No, we are here to create with it. And if we can create, because we are transmuters and alchemists of that energy, then let's just use it to create more potential. And it's just a perception, because it's still going into the earth, right? But it's like put our energy into it, use ourselves as transformers that we are, acknowledge that, because it creates a different energy. You are getting, whoa, much more energized. Because remember that allowance space, which we've learned and had to live so long, not accepting, but in allowance doesn't necessarily create. It's just, whoa. But if you have that power, if you have that fire within you, then transform and alchemize it, because this is where we're all going. And we need lots of that energy anyway. We need lots of people who can do that, especially with all the chaos. And that's why just putting your head under the pillow and say, oh no, I can't do it, I'm not adding anything to that. It's okay too at times, but sometimes it's like, hey, take responsibility, because there's more to that. Don't
Well, and reach out and look at it from a wider perspective, right? Instead of things like bogging you down or weighing you down, right? Using that, whatever that energy is, to alchemize. It's really alchemy, right? That we're channeling it into, something useful or creative, or, change making.
Yeah. I don't think that's, for me, the next level of grounding. Instead of just walking away saying, hey, this is your responsibility, because now you know who you are. You can no longer walk away. That's the responsibility. With the more awareness we have, that's why I would say awareness is a bitch, really, because the more awareness we have to act upon it. We can no longer say, no, we just walk away. No, we can't do that. Yeah, sometimes, of course, you walk away depending on, how you feel or anything. But there is this element of, okay. Yeah. And of course, that there's a lot of self-validation in all of that. It's not for pussies. Yeah, that's what I usually say. Thank you, Sachin. And what did I say? Did I not say that? Anyway. What?
Well, you meant The last time you used it was with consciousness. Sorry, I'm eating because I have to go to my other course soon.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Maybe I'm trying to
You
be.
said consciousness, being conscious is not, it's not for pussies. So in this sense here, everything that the awareness is it's also not for pussies, because once you're aware, you can't step back from it.
But it's for lions. It's for lions. Yes. So bring the lions out, and
Right. And they're little pussy cats,
and the
really.
little well, they are pussycats anyway, aren't they? We mustn't lose our innocence, our pussycat innocence, but we need to know well, it's all about choice, like we said early on, it's all about choice. One day you want to be the little kitty, and then the next morning you want to be the tiger or the lioness, depending on what is required.
Depending upon what's required.
Exactly.
I was thinking about what we were talking about, loyalty.
Yes, loyalty.
And I think that loyalty can also have like a negative influence, right? When you have loyalty to someone. And I just think an example of something that happened, many years ago with my husband and someone he was working with, who sort of like, I don't know, betrayed him in a way. And I got so angry. I thought, what, why are you working with that jerk? And was really like very defensive around the situation, and I felt very loyal, to my husband, and I felt like I was standing up for him. But then I realized that I don't need to fight his battles. He can do that himself. So that was a really good learning for me all those many years ago, that loyalty doesn't mean doing someone else's work, right? Maybe it just means standing by them and supporting them while they are doing what they need to do. And maybe it wasn't, he wasn't as angry about it as I was.
No, because
so
he
I
was the
thought,
teacher for
okay,
you to show you your reflection. And
exactly.
that's what our boys do. We are the ones like, oh, come on, let's talk about awakening, enlightenment, self-realization. So, what? Leave me alone. And then they come in with shit like that. Bastards.
Right.
So,
And it was like the situation, the way it manifested itself, it was like I was so triggered. I was so emotionally involved in that, like that feeling of, oh, I'm so angry. How could you let him do that to you? I mean, now I don't give a shit, right? It's, of course, I stand behind him and, help we hold space for each other. But yeah, I let him fight his own battles now.
that's the lioness within you, right? That's what every mum would do with their children. That's what I used to do for the first half of my life, which bit me in the ass big time until I stopped using my lioness energy for the very wrong. I invested my energy in the wrong places. And it took me a long time to figure this out. But I think you're making a super point here, because loyalty and betrayal, that needs to be looked at the same time. That's the package deal, the duo.
Yeah, like one side of each coin, right?
Yeah. That's something, if anyone wants to look into loyalty a little bit more.
I think that's a very great point that Tanya, you brought in, because I can see in my own mirror that all my suffering life have been through that. The loyalty sense program that I have, that I want to be loyal to people, and then battle other people, battle for other people, battle. And then that's keeping me many times that I have been through very down the hole because I take the position that I was not supposed to be taking, and taking other people fight to protect other people that was not supposed to be my job, That was not my playing, but I took it over because loyalty, because I want to show that I was supporting, but it was a mixed conception of the program that I have. That I had to protect the other that is close to me, or somebody who I'm working with, or somebody that is traveling with that person, or whatever situation was. I was jumping, taking the position of protection, showing that I was loyal and I was a person that's supporting other people. I was just burning myself in that position, really.
That's the thing. That's the coin. Loyal on the one side, betrayal on the other. And, we might, feel bad about betrayal, but betrayal is needed in order to point out when you are doing the loyalty game, because loyalty is really an overinflated ego value, a misunderstood, a bastardized ego value. We're not loyal because we think we do it out of kindness. Yeah. And that's at least what happened to me. I thought I was kind when I was doing it.
And it's
Until I
stepping on someone else's journey in a way too,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. But
I-
that's
I-
why then betrayal happens, so that you wake out of this slumber that, you need to help other people like this.
When I was a kid, I guess I was in grade school, 6th grade maybe, and then we went to middle school, 7th through 9. But in the 6th grade, there was a situation where all the girls were like defriending this one girl, and I was friends with everyone. And I asked my dad, well, like, what do you think? Do you think I should be friends with this girl or not? He's like, I can't make that choice for you. You have to make that choice for yourself.
Wow.
So having that wisdom and insight, right, where he wasn't going to stand between me and my decisions, I think that was a really great teaching for me to come back to my own, intuition, my own thoughts around things. And, ever since then, I've always been, like a neutral person, not involved in bullying, but also, being able to see many different sides of things. So I think that energy around loyalty, and that girl remained my friend for the rest of that year. And of course, later in life, when we changed schools and all kinds of new people came in, they moved apart. But that loyalty around the friendship, like being able to say, I don't know what you crazy ladies are talking about. She didn't do anything wrong. She's a cool chick. I'm going to still hang out with her. You can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Being
That's beautiful.
strong in my own decision making, it was a good learning for me.
And that's, as you just said, that strength in your own decision making that allows you then to be an allowance for others' interesting points of views and, interesting choices they are making, because, you're not dependent on their choices.
Mhm.
And that's often misunderstood in a codependent relationship. That's understood as, oh, you don't love me. But that's got fuck to do with that, obviously, But I mean, that's also old kind of relationship, with, well, our generation is working on moving out, or has moved out already. And, when you look at our children, the next generation is already on a different level, They've already got it figured out. Not all of them, of course, but yeah. Yeah, exciting. Exciting. Good stuff. How are we doing, guys? Oh, wow.
Well, it's nice to see everybody's face today. I know Sandrine has to drop off for her class soon, so sending you big hugs and lots of love.
Thank you, everyone. I cannot share my screen now because in a place that is not possible. However, it's nice to see you too. I had to follow doing some calling now. It was nice to see you.
Yeah, and chatting to you too.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Herminia.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
thank you.
you.
You too. Thank you so much. Mhm.
And
And I
Lana,
feel-
you've been awfully quiet today. Do you have
I
anything
think
to
she's
share?
out there raking her leaves.
There she is.
Are you
wish
raking your leaves, Lana?
Yes, in my mind, stroke by stroke, it's going.
What's
No,
your
I was just
experience?
listening. I was just listening to you guys, and while you were doing that, I was just catching a lion,
Ah,
face of a lion. So I wasn't wasting time. I was just kind of
catching a face of a lion. Oh, that's beautiful.
and I'm not good at it, but I was amazed that I actually got the eyes to actually look like somebody. So that was pretty cool.
So you must
All in
share it.
pencil.
You must share it under the recording,
I'll
maybe if you want to.
well, I'll share it. I'll share it in the
Yeah.
chat with you guys. I'll take a picture of it, and
All right. All right.
especially the eyes. It was the eyes that came through more than any other part of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, the lion behind you there, Tanya, it does look a lot like you.
Good.
Does.
It's pretty
Yeah.
chill. That one's pretty chill, just being the
Mm.
guardian.
Yeah. Had a good blow dry in his ear as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, and as
Yeah,
you
and
guys
he's
He
were
had
also
a,
not.
talking,
yeah, he had a blowout, a Brazilian blowout.
yeah.
And I have to thank everyone again that I'm feeling much better. At the beginning, I was feverish today, so I'm a little bit, and it's going to be a long evening with the course as well. So no, but everything just lifted again a little bit. Gave me
Good.
new energy. Thank you.
It's good.
You're
Good.
welcome.
Fantastic. Is there anything interesting you want to share from this course that you can share, or anything that we could use? Raise our awareness.
Yeah, not yet. It's still
yet.
very much at the beginning of, finding yourself, grounding yourself, being the benevolent presence. They want us. I just finished looking at all the assignments because it is a certified course. We have to do the assignments, and they're pretty. It's always like 300 to 400 words, essays, stuff, and it's a lot about self-reflection. It's about, how do you see yourself doing when you're in a benevolent presence, and soaking in the connection and all that. So it's more like this first quarter is a lot about yourself, finding being grounded within yourself and your heart, finding your heart in a sense, honestly. And then I think the second quarter and third will be more like, putting it out there and then going more into the coaching and the guiding in a sense. But currently it's also like more these, we're put into different break rooms where we're discussing, it's active listening and it's not commenting, it's really active listening and just being engaged with the person that is in front of you. So one thing that was cute to do is like they asked us to paint or sketch or doodle the river of life, your river of life with your milestones on it. I found that quite interesting to go through, and there were so many things that came up in, suddenly, like, oh, I did that. Oh yeah, when I was there. Oh, and that, you see, so you were a little bit floating in nostalgia, but not too much. It was more like, okay, where did I go from there? So that was really cute to see. And the person I was then, reflecting on with, she kept on saying the dark night of her soul. It was a bit dark, but okay, the dark night of her soul, and then she overcame the dark night of her soul, and then she overcame, and I'm like, girl, just wake up. There were things in your life where you just can connect to where there was a lot of light, so just forget about the dark night of your soul. In a sense.
That's quite an overused expression of the light work community.
It's one of
Right?
those tiles, right? It's one
Really?
of those tiles that's covering up exactly what's going on, right? Because you can say, oh, dark night of the soul, I mean, you have an idea of what that means, but let's get a little deeper. You know, go
Yeah,
into
well,
it
you
because
know, it's not an
you-
active, it's not an active analyzing session. So I was just like, when she was talking about the moments in her life where there was light, and then later I was like, well, these are probably the moments that you can, you know, go back to instead of the ones that you're just trying to, you know, the dark night of her soul. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Oh, that's just an expression. So when you go
Mm.
through emotional turmoil or need healing or, you know, or fall into a breakdown or something.
And then maybe at one stage you might need to help me out with the Gemini energy. I'm a little bit lost currently.
I'm
But
your pick.
no, but you're so different from.
No, I'm not a Gemini, Pauline.
Okay.
26 years of experience, back and forth. Anything you need. I'm not a fucking Gemini.
I know it's right. It's Paul, right?
That's right. So
Yeah.
I'll tell him in and out. Don't worry. I learned a lot about myself, obviously, through this. Gratitude, lovely. But yeah. Yeah,
Okay, I will come back to it at one stage.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And now I have to leave you guys.
Yes.
Bye, big hug,
Love ya.
Sandrine.
Love you
Bye.
too.
Speak to
Have
you
a good
soon.
one, huh? Here we go. And Trump's a Gemini as well. So here we go. We had it on stage, on the world stage.
Mhm, mhm.
Long enough now.
Well, it'll be an interesting
Oh,
ride. An
interesting
interesting
ride.
ride. Yes, may we live in interesting times. Oh, yeah, we do.
Absolutely. So we have to sharpen our transformation skills and use this as a source. A bit like a vampire. All this like woo energy. Take it, transform it, create with it.
Mhm.
Fantastic. That's what we're going to do. It's
Sounds
exciting.
great. Sounds great.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gone. I'm out of town next week, so I
Out of
won't
town next
be-
week? Okay. All right. We'll let you go for once.
Mhm, mhm.
Now, great. Now we managed to do the recording as well. So that will go out as soon as I manage
Great.
to get it off. And then we'll take it from there. So thank you. Have a good week.
Thank you. Thanks for
And,
holding space. Thanks for being you, and thanks all y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
guys to your
Bye bye,
contribution.
everyone. Bye
Have
bye.
a good one. Bye-bye,
Bye, guys.
everyone.
Bye, Lana. Back to
Bye.
your leaves. All right. Cheers. See you soon, huh? Bye.
Cheers.